welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be making this beautiful night dress for our dolls. Now the night dress is made following along with the same instructions as the Christmas dress, which is a long white dress with stars on it. I will put the link in the video below. So what we will do is we will start off by making the frill here on the bottom, and then you can carry on and do the rest of the dress. Apart from the one other piece which we're going to do differently will be the cuffs on here. We're going to just make them slightly wider when we do our seam and thread elastic in it. So I will show you how to put the ruffle on the bottom first, and then I will show you how to put the elastic in the sleeves for the next piece. And I've just got all the pieces cut out, and I'm just going to cut myself a ruffle. I'm going to cut all of this fabric off here at the bottom, which don't worry, I will use again. So I got just a straight edge, that, and I'm going to use this piece to make the ruffle for the bottom of the skirt, and I need it to be 64 inches by 2 inches. So I'm just going to lay it out and get that cut. So I'm laying it on my board on that on a straight line on my board, so I know that that's straight coming across, and then I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to put it on my board 2 inches down. Now if you don't have a board, don't worry, because you can just mark this up with a pencil. Take your ruler, mark it up here with a pencil, mark it up here with a pencil, mark it in the middle with a pencil, and then you can draw a line across and use your scissors to cut it out. But I'm just going to use this so I can do it quickly. Now again, you can use your scissors to do this, but I've got a rotary cutter. There you go. I'm going to use my rotary cutter, and I find that is the best way to cut straight lines. This is the rotary cutter here. It's got a blade on it and it just cuts through stuff. So where we've done that, what we're going to do next is take it to the iron, and I'm going to work out where 64 inches is on this. So I would need 32, so 16 and 16, so I'm going to cut it just here. Let's get it straight. There we go, and then just cut right up. So that's how to do it with the rotary cutter. If you look on my website, there is how to cut it without that. The next thing we are going to do is we're going to take this, and on one end we are going to use our paper, our cardboard with our line, our 1/4 inch line on it. We're going to place our fabric on. Now make sure you've got the right side of your fabric. That's my up side and that's my down side, so I need the down side down, and we're going to do a 1/4 inch all the way along. And then once we've got that 1/4 inch, we're going to fold it over again so it goes over like that, so you've got a nice hem on the bottom of your frill. Okay, so here is our ruffle, and we've done it, we folded it down and ironed it, and it's pressed all down with a 1/4 inch on the edge here, and then we folded it over again and pushed it down another 1/4 inch. So we've got 1/2 inch off this, and we're just going to run along, and you want to get your stitches up about here, okay, onto it. You're going to just do the whole thing and hem the whole of your ruffle, okay, or your frill. So once you've got your strip all hemmed and it's all along, you can take it to the iron if you want to and give it a little press. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to put some tacking stitches right the way along. Now you can either do this on the sewing machine, but I prefer to do mine by hand. It's just my own preference. If you want to do it on the sewing machine, just change your stitch length here, okay, to the biggest stitch you've got on your machine. Yours might be up here or here, but you want the biggest stitch, okay? So I'm going to put mine like that, and I'm just going to take a needle and thread. Now a lot of people say don't put a knot in the end when you're tacking, but I just prefer to, because I've pulled my tacking stitches out so many times. So I'm just going to make a little knot and pop that into the end of my thing just to hold it in place. And then all I'm going to do is find the end And then all I'm going to do is just, hopefully, let's get this so that you can actually see it. Okay, now, and I'm just going to go in and I'm going to put my needle in and out all the way along and try and keep in those stitches about the same sort of length as you go along. Okay, hopefully you can see this okay. And you want to keep it at the same sort of distance from the end of your fabric. So you want that sort of like, I've probably got about 1/4 inch there, okay, and keep that like that, and then pull that bit out and then go on and do the next bit and just keep going all the way until you get to the end, like that. So here is my skirt, and we're just going to put on now. So before you do anything else, you're going to put this skirt on, and what you want to make sure is you've got the right side of the fabric, and we're going to put this ruffle onto it, but we're going to gather it so that it's going to be the same length as the skirt. Not that way round, that way round. So you want it so that when you lay it together, this is the right side up. Yeah, this is the right side up, and that is the right side up. So you want to just layer it up like that, and then turn it back over. And I'm just going to put a pin in this end here, like that, and then I'm going to put a pin in the other end. Now what you want to do is make sure you don't get a twist in it, because if you get a twist in it and you get all the way to the end and find you've got a twist and you've pinned everything in, it's really annoying. Okay, so make sure it's all nice and flat, and put another pin in this end. Okay, so now what you want to do is you want this frill to be the same size as this skirt, and this skirt is 32 inches and the frill is 64, so it's double the size of the skirt. So what you're going to do is pull on your end and start getting your ruffle to ruffle up. Okay, there we go. Okay, and just keep pulling until you've got it the same size as your skirt. Right, I think that's about it. That's about right there. So now what you want to do is spread out those ruffles. So get it laying along, and you want to get it sort of coming so that you've got roughly an even amount of gathering along as you come along. And then you can just take your pins, pull that one out a bit, make sure that one's okay. I just wanted to show you this. So these gathers here are okay, then I've got no gather here whatsoever. I just wanted to move it along so you can actually see it. So there's no gather there at all, it's quite straight. And then I've got lots and lots of gathers coming along here, so that's okay. All I'm going to do is just I'm going to move my pins along on this side so that I get a much more even gather, and you'll probably have to do this because it is quite a big piece of fabric. The other thing you want to make sure is, can you see it? I've got it's a little bit puckered because it's not laying quite straight, so I need to make sure that this isn't too puckered up. I need to pull this out a little bit on the edge so that you're getting a nice flat bit. Can you see I've got like a bump here where that should be laying flat? It's going to go straight like that. So if I pull this now, that should come out and lay flat. Okay, so now I've got a nice, let's move that box a minute, nice flat. So I just need to sort out this. So obviously I've got too many ruffles here, so I'm just going to move my pins along just a little bit on this side, pulling those gathers out a little bit so that I can move it along and get a much more even gathering on that bottom. Right, okay. So there you go. So it's a reasonably even gather all the way along, and it's not pulled too tightly or anything. You can take it like that and just pull the two ends. If you can see. So once you've got your ruffle all pinned along your bottom of your dress, what you want to do is take it to your sewing machine and stitch a line of stitching all the way along. Once you've gone all the way along, you want to take your zigzag stitch and you want to zigzag all the way along as well, all the way around. What you want to make sure though is that you change your foot so that you're not using a 1/4 inch foot, so that you're using a 1/2 inch, a wider foot. Any ordinary wide foot would work with it, but it won't work on the 1/4 inch. So go around and zigzag all of your skirt, and zigzag down the bit at the very end where it joins on, so the bit where it just joins on together. Okay, and that will be your ruffle finished. So as you're following along with the other pattern, when you get into your arm piece, what you're going to want to do is to take your arm, and then you're going to want to fold it at 3/4 of an inch. So this piece here is 3/4 of an inch, and then you're going to just fold it back just the same on your 1/4 inch, but then you're going to fold it up so that you've got a wider gap on the bottom, because we want to put some elastic in there. So, and then we'll just pin that along and we'll go from there. Okay, and then just carry on doing the arms and everything else just the same as you did before. All right, so when you've done your arm, you should have a bit of a wider gap, and that should give you enough room to thread your piece of elastic through. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do for our arms is we're going to take a safety pin, and I've got just some fine elastic, and I've tied a knot into the end of my safety pin. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to push my safety pin all the way through to the other end. Just there we go. Okay, then I'm going to take it to the sewing machine, and I'm just going to stitch across this piece of the elastic here so that that gets held down, and then I will come across and I will measure how long our doll's arm is going to be. So all we are going to do is, we've got it on inside like that, we're going to just put these two pieces together, and instead of it being hop and floppy like that, we want it to come down, and we want it to hold in like that. So I'm just going to pull it so that it sort of sits nicely on her arm, but you want to check that you can definitely get it off her hand. Okay, and then we are going to take it to the sewing machine again, and we're just going to machine straight across there. All right, so there it is, and I've sewn it. I went across about 5 or 6 times backwards and forwards, did a forward stitch, then a backward stitch, forward stitch, back stitch, until I got it nice and like. Okay, so cut that off now, and then that should fit her arm nicely like that, and we'll sew the arm up in a second. So now the next thing you want to do is to do exactly the same on the other arm, and then follow the pattern just the same as you did with the white dress. Okay, so we've just had a bit of an accident. I knocked everything off the side of this unit here, sorry about that everybody, but Haven has just come down to get herself a glass of milk before she goes to bed, and she's got her nightie on, and it's looking really sweet. Hope you like it. Now I can't decide, and I need your help with this. What do you think? Bow or no bow? Okay, so have a think and let me know whether you think it looks better with or without the bow. She's looking quite cute. I hope you enjoyed this video. Goodbye.